Okay, hello guys. Hello. Welcome to the live chat right here. I'm sorry for the confusion. I was trying to connect few minutes ago. Like I said, that was my first time to connect, so I was like confused. I don't know what it's all about. Okay, so what I want us to discuss on this live chat will be how you can troubleshoot a dead mobile phone. You understand? So troubleshooting any dead mobile phone. Meanwhile, you are following all the troubleshooting steps in order you can easily succeed. Or maybe if you don't succeed, then at the end you will know the problem. Maybe you are leaving the phone, meanwhile it's not being fixed because you don't have the tools. You understand? So leaving a work without completing the work because you don't have the tools to complete the work is different from leaving that work. Meanwhile, you don't know the problem that is causing the phone to behave that way. Understand what I'm saying, right? Okay, so I want us to discuss on troubleshooting. And if there's anything that you want us to discuss on this troubleshooting, then just comment right here. Let me see if you can talk on that before I get into what I want us to talk about right here, because I really want us to talk on troubleshooting steps, step by step. So you can just comment right here. Let me see what's going on. If you have any question, you can feel free to ask me right here. Let me see so that we can chat on that. Okay, seems like there is no question right here. So let me just go on then. Start on talking. Okay, when you receive a phone, when a customer brings a phone to your shop, then gives the phone to you, then tells you that this phone right here is not switching on. There are some normal things. There are some first aid troubleshooting, like I call it first aid troubleshooting, that you first checked before you start going deep into the phone. Because when they bring you a phone saying that this phone is not switching on, the first thing that you check into that phone is the battery. It comes to your head that, oh, okay, the battery might need some activation. That's the first thing that comes to any technician's head. So when you open the phone, the first thing that you check is the battery. And most people, I mean most people, only know about the battery when they check the battery. Meanwhile, the battery charges on the battery, they'll be like, wow, I don't know what to check next. I don't know what to check next, which is not cool. You, as a technician, you, as a mobile phone technician, you need to know all the basic troubleshooting and advanced troubleshooting of a dead mobile phone. Just forget about the battery activation. That's for people who are still learning the work. Yeah, I'm not saying you don't have to check on. That's the first thing that you need to check on, which is very important, because if they bring you a phone which is not switching on, then you just open the phone, then start checking components. If the phone is shutting without checking the battery, that will be crazy. You understand? So what I'm saying is that you don't have to depend on the battery only. Okay, so as you open that phone, check the battery. The battery is cool. You know about the power button. You check the power button is working as intended. What do you do next? There are there are two main things that I really want everyone to always check. When you receive phone, then check the battery. Meanwhile, the battery is okay. There are two things that I want you to check, the test. So if you test these two things, then you get to see that the two things that I'm talking about right here are all good. Then from there, you will go to the next step, in which we will talk about all that in this video. So if you receive a phone, then you check the battery is all good, which means that the battery has the voltage which has to turn on the motherboard. The voltage is there. Then you check the power button too. The power button is working as intended, which means that there is no open circuit on the power button. So what are the things that you need to check? I recommend you to always check shorting. You need to check shorting on that motherboard. And there are two types of shorting that I'm talking about right here. You need to check half shorting, then you need to check the full shorting. Okay, you guys know very well about half shorting. Maybe some of you, but majority of you guys knows about full shorting. So let me talk about half shorting right here and the full shorting. The full shorting is the main short that is always found in the power section of a mobile phone. Full shorting is when the power section of your motherboard is shorting. Like you know very well, there are some cases that you receive a phone. As soon as you have activated the battery, as soon as you have put in charge into the battery, then connect it into the phone, the battery will go dry. I mean, there will be no voltage on that battery. That is the cause of full shorting. Then we have half shorting, which mostly occurs on the network section of a mobile phone or the processing section of a mobile phone. That is why it's called half shorting. And half shorting is hard to find because it might be on the processing section of the mobile phone or might be on the networking section of the mobile phone. That is why you cannot identify that half shorting in the battery terminals. Understand, because the network section of a mobile phone has no direct connections with the battery connector. That is why some half shortings on the network section can really disturb you from finding the fault of the mobile phone that you are working on. So how can you check the full shorting? You first need to start checking full shorting. How can you check that full shorting? I'm just going on talking. I'm not seeing any hi. It's cool if you just say hi to me right here on this chat box right here. It's cool if you just say hi to me. Okay, cool. Let me just continue right here. How can you check on that full shorting? You set your multimeter to boost mode. For you to check full shorting, you have to set your multimeter to boost mode to the beeping mode. That's what I'm talking about. So as soon as you set your multimeter to the beeping mode, which is the boost mode, you have to place your black probe to the earth surface of the motherboard, then use your red probe to test the battery positive connector of that motherboard. As soon as you hear a beep, which is a full beep, that phone is full shorting. That phone is full shorting. You understand what I'm talking about right here? You place your black probe on the earth of the motherboard, use your red probe, then place it on the red probe, on the positive battery connector. If it beeps, that phone is full shorting, and if it does not beep, that phone is not full shorting. And from there, you will know if it's half shorting or not, because testing half shorting with this method that I just told you that you can test full shorting with it, it's hard to find half shorting using this method. So how can you find half shorting on a mobile phone? When you are testing to check on if a motherboard is half shorting, you're gonna use a mode which is called cold testing. The cold testing is when you place the red probe instead of the black probe to the positive side, which is the earth surface of your motherboard, then use your black probe, then test the battery connector positive. That is cold testing, which is to identify if a phone is half shorting. Let me go again. You use your red probe, place it on the earth of your motherboard, then you use your black probe, place it on the positive battery connector of that motherboard. Then the reading must be between 250 ohms upward. A reading between 250 ohms upward means that that motherboard is functioning well. All the there is no half shorting on that motherboard. But if you get a value between 200 below, if you get a value below 200 ohms downward, that motherboard is half shorting. And the half shorting can be on the networking section or can be on the processing section. So after you have checked on this, you'll notice that there is a half shorting on the motherboard. You can use your short killer to find out that motherboard very easily. But what if you don't have a short killer? You can still use your multimeter, then go into the various components on the network section and the processing section. What I mean by processing section right here is the section in which you always found your CPU and your RAM. And you need to take note. I've always been seeing messages on Facebook, people sending me messages on WhatsApp pictures saying that those capacitors, they are trying to solve a phone that is not switching on, and those capacitors around or behind the CPU are shorting. I want you to understand that in most cases, those capacitors are not shorting because the CPU is built up of transistors and resistors too. And the reason why those capacitors around the CPU are always shorting or might be like shorting some of the time is because the resistance of those resistors that they use in between that to build up that CPU, the resistors has a low resistance. The resistors that were used to build up that CPU, that were integrated to build up that CPU, has a low resistance. That is why you will see it like the capacitors are shorting. So you always have to take note. You always have to make sure that when you are testing those capacitors around the CPU, you are testing them with your multimeter in your boost mode. For example, if they're always in a line, if you test the other ones, like let me give it like an example, and let me just give it like you have 5 capacitors in a row around the CPU. Then you use your multimeter in boost mode, you test those 5 capacitors. You see 4 of them which are not shorting. Then you see 5, the number 5 one which is shorting. It's simple that you will know that that capacitor is shorting, that main capacitor is shorting. But when you test all that capacitors and you see that they are shorting or they have a low reading in your multimeter, because you might test sometimes, then you will see something like 100 ohms in your multimeter. That is no shorting. That is the cost of the CPU. And if you remove the CPU, you won't see that reading. You understand what I'm saying, right? So the first troubleshooting is the half shorting and the full shorting. I already told you how you can test full shorting, and I'm telling you right now how you can test half shorting. So what if you don't really know how to test full shorting using your multimeter? Because I am always explaining about this. I have a couple of videos. Meanwhile, I'm explaining how you can test full shorting with your multimeter. But it seems like most people don't really understand how they're gonna do that. Testing full shorting in a motherboard is the simplest, because for you to test full shorting in a motherboard, you need to know the kind of components that can easily cause full shorting in a motherboard. So what you need to do, you just hold your black probe of your multimeter. Meanwhile, you have set your multimeter to boost mode, place it on the earth, then you use the red probe. Then you're gonna test components like capacitors and resistors. Sorry, capacitors and diodes. For you to check that full shorting, you need to focus on capacitors and diode, because those components are the main components that can full short a phone, and they are mostly like diode. They are mostly in a power section of a mobile phone. You understand? So as soon as you have placed your black probe on the earth surface of your PCB, use your red probe to test those capacitors, test capacitors around the power IC, test capacitors around the charging IC, then you test capacitors around the backlight IC. Those are the main power sections of your mobile phone. I mean, if there is something shorting around the charging section, it might easily short the charging terminals, short the battery connector. So meanwhile they are shorting around those power sections, they can fully short the motherboard. Meanwhile, you can easily identify that shorting on your battery terminals. You understand what I'm saying? So after checking, what if you check but yet you don't see any shorting? That's some big deal right here. What if you check but you don't see any shorting? Because you are always like, even I myself, when I hold a phone, I open the phone, then start checking the phone. My main focus is shorting. But when I check and I see that the phone is not shorting at last, yeah, that's when my brain will start working deep, deep. So how can you check? What's the next step for you to check if you see no shorting on that motherboard? Okay, we have what we call CPU. Yeah, when for example, when you are working, let me take it this way. When you are working, like working on a phone that is not switching on, you notice that there is no shorting on that phone. There is an easy way to understand if the CPU and the RAM, which is your eMMC of that phone, is working as intended or is working normally. There is an easy way to know if they are not the cause of that problem that is causing the phone not to switch on. Because sometimes that phone might not be shorting, meanwhile, it's lacking some signals on the CPU to power up the phone. Meanwhile, it's lacking some data on the RAM so that the phone can power on. And that's the kind of fault that it will be very hard for you to understand, because sometimes the CPU might be shorting, but yet you won't identify that using your multimeter, or the CPU might be broken, like not working, but you won't identify that with your multimeter. So how can you know if that your CPU is working or not? When troubleshooting a phone, you need to have your PC, your computer. I use my computer to identify if the CPU or the RAM is working. You understand what I'm saying? So for those of you who don't have a PC, I suggest you get a PC, because it's very important to solve some kind of problem, or to know this problem is caused by this component using your PC. For example, when a phone is not switching on, sometimes it might be because of the eMMC that is corrupt. What I mean by, it might be because of the phone software that is corrupt. The software inside the phone might be corrupt. So, meanwhile, troubleshooting, then you are seeing no short. You are seeing all required voltages on all section of the motherboard that needs the phone to work as intended, but yet the phone is not working. It might be because of software issue. And how you gonna know that? When you test all these things, then you see that everything is working as intended. You see all the voltages on all the sections that they were supposed to be there. What you need to check next is that you need to check on to restore that phone. Try restoring a new ROM on that phone. Try flashing that phone with the latest version of the phone that you find online. Because if that phone is not switching on, then you see all that required voltages. Then you keep checking. Meanwhile, the software of that phone is corrupt. You will never know if that phone, you will never know the problem of the phone. But you trying to flash that phone, you will know exactly what is causing that problem. And what I mean by right here, there is one trick right here that can really make your work easy. If you try on flashing that phone, let me say, for example, an MTK device, let me say Infinix or Techno. I think most of you guys know about these phones there in Nigeria. You try to flash a phone, Infinix phone or a Techno, which is using an MTK CPU. You are normally using your uh, your SP flash though. Then you try flashing the phone, it fails. Sometimes it might fail because you have downloaded the wrong version of that phone. But what if you keep downloading different version, then it keeps failing? That's a sign that the RAM of your phone is bad. And there is a way to read the memory of your phone in that SP flash store. I think you always see some site which is named memory or something like that. Yeah, they are different in different versions. So you can try to read your memory using your SP flash store. And when you try reading, then you get no information or it keeps failing. Meanwhile, you know that the SP flash store is supposed to read the information of this phone. That means that there is no information. There are no partitions on that eMMC that flash store is saying to give you. You understand? So you try flashing, it keeps failing. That's the eMMC. The eMMC might need to be reprogrammed or changed completely. So what if in that case, in some cases, you try to flash, but yet your PC is not detecting the phone at all? There is one important part that you need to understand. What if your PC does not detect that phone? Even when you press the volume up or the volume down for the phone to enter download mode, even though the phone is bad, if you press the volume up or the volume down, which any of them might be the boot key of the phone supposed to read on your PC in flash mode. So what if you press all these buttons, then yet the phone does not read? It might be because your phone USB controller IC might be bad. And in most cases, it's the cost of the CPU. Yeah, this might sound tricky, but I'm going to explain this to you in a way that you will understand. One reason why it's mostly the cost of the CPU is that when we have our charging then we have those data pins, which is DP and DM, which I've talked about this few last week. I think I uploaded a video about DP and DM few weeks ago. Those data pins that lets your phone to read on a PC might have their charging IC, which that data transfer is functioning throughout the charging IC. And in most phones, the charging IC only regulates the voltage. It has nothing to do with data transfer or data reading. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying here is that you might receive a phone which has a charging IC, but that charging IC might be dealing only with that 5 volt, might regulate and distribute the required voltages just using that 5 volt. But the data pins has nothing to do with that charging IC. But instead, the data pins has something to do with the CPU, because CPU is the main component that collects all that information, that reads all that information and give your computer the signal to identify the phone that is being plugged in to into your computer. You understand? That is why when you remove your eMMC, when you remove the RAM of your phone, I mean completely, then you still connect the phone into your PC. The phone will still read. But if you try reading or try flashing the phone, it won't see any RAM. It won't see any place to store that information in which you are trying to flash. You understand what I'm saying? So if you connect your phone, that's the cause of the CPU. That means that CPU is bad. You cannot flash that phone. You cannot flash that phone to know if it's the RAM or anything. You need to rebuild that CPU, or you need to change that CPU, because the phone and your computer need signal through that CPU before it reads. Your computer needs a signal from the CPU before it reads. And if it does not, and you are sure that your charging section is fine, then you need to know that it's the CPU, and you can easily change the CPU right now, knowing that the problem of the phone is easily the CPU. Okay, cool. If there is anything that you don't understand right here, you can just let me know right here so that I can see if I can highlight you about that. If you have any question from my explanation, you can let me know right here. No one is talking. I don't know if maybe the chat is not enabled or. Okay, okay. Yeah, I can see you right here. Oh, sorry. Edwin, are you there? I can see Edwin. Okay, I can see Matthew saying he will watch later. That's cool, man. Okay, so Edwin, are you still there? If you are there, then you can ask me something right here. Enoch, I can see you there. Hello. I hope you are doing great. Okay, I'm seeing no question right here. Okay, I think, okay, let me see. Edwin, once the phone has no power. Yeah, Edwin, when the phone has no power, has no life, the computer can still detect that phone if the CPU is functioning as intended. You understand what I'm saying, right? Once the phone is not powering on and there is no shutting on that phone, the your computer can still detect that phone because of the CPU. Okay. Edwin, I hope you try to understand what I'm saying right here. When the phone does not power on and there is no shutting and the CPU is fine, your computer will detect that phone without having any problem. But it will have problems when you are trying to flash. Meanwhile, your RAM has a problem. If your RAM needs some reprogramming or needs to be changed, then the phone won't be able to flash, or your flash store or your unlock store won't be able to read any information from that phone because the RAM is not working as intended. But the phone will detect on your PC well. Okay. Kobayomi. Yeah, I don't know how I'm pronouncing that. Okay, you say you have a problem with your Infinix phone, network problem, Infinix 4. I would like to know what you have tried to do. I would like to know what you have tried to do on that phone. I would like to know the things that you have checked. When you want me to help you out with something, I always like it when you try telling me that you have tried checking on this, it's not working. So that when you tell me, I will start knowing how I'm going to start explaining and where I will tell you to check next. So, can you tell me about the Infinix phone that you tried checking? And I really want you to understand about the network issue. I'm talking this generally to you all right here. You need to understand that most phones, I mean, these most phones like these Chinese phones that we do deal with here in Africa, the most phones in them, they're charging their network IC. I mean, their network ICs are not integrated. You try to understand what I'm saying right here. The network ICs are not integrated like these cheap phones that we have, like Itel. Then we have those other cheap marks. Those chip marks, their network ICs are integrated with the CPU. Meanwhile, these technos now, when we see all these technos in Phoenix, those network ICs are not integrated, which means that you can easily you can easily deal with those network ICs, those network problems in that phone, because their network chip are not integrated with the CPU, which means that you can easily change the network if you are able to identify it. I have a couple of videos. I think I have 3 videos on how you can identify all these things. So you asking me how to identify any IC, I wouldn't be happy about that, because I spend a lot of time explaining to you how you can identify all these ICs. So for you about your Infinix, let me just take you through the steps in which I want you to go through. Maybe you haven't gone through these steps yet. As that Infinix Note 4 that you are talking about, it has no network connection. It has no network in it like you're talking about. I will first want you to make sure that the software part of that phone is okay, which means that I'm trying to say you need to go to your settings. You are going to check your IMEI, then you are going to check your baseband. So if you check all those things and maybe you check the IMEI, which is not available, you can try flashing the phone with the full firmware to get the IMEI back. And the baseband, if you see unknown baseband, some cases you see unknown baseband. Okay, I can see you have right even the IMEI, but no, nothing is working. Let me see. Okay, you have changed the IMEI, but nothing is working, and I think your baseband is okay. So what can you check next? You need to check the network IC. You need to check the network section. Then following, and you can easily do that if you know how to read schematic diagram, because in most cases when you are trying to solve network problem on a phone and you are not succeeding, maybe it's all about the main supply voltage that needs to power up that network IC to start functioning. I have solved many cases in this. Meanwhile, just doing a little bit of jumper, then everything start working as intended. Sometimes it's because of the main supply voltage that needs to power up that IC. Okay. Okay, Enoch, I get you. You are talking about a phone that blinks but won't turn on. Is it an Infinix phone or something? And can you please explain more about the fault? Okay, I see right here. Abayomi. Yeah, that name is kind of hard to pronounce. Okay, you're talking about IC's identification. Like I mentioned, I wouldn't be happy if someone asked me how to identify all these ICs. But I don't know if you are new to my channel or not, because if you have been following my channel for a couple of months, you will know how you can identify all those ICs. Okay, maybe let me just be specific about the network IC that you are talking about. For you to easily identify network IC on that hot 4 that you are talking about right here, you will find the network IC close to the network antenna socket. Then in that section, I don't know about the motherboard, but I suggest you will see the network ROF. You will see the network ROF, which will be the 2G and the 3G network signal amplifier. I mean, so you might see 2 different network control ICs, which the main one is the one that generates that IC. I mean, the main one is the one that generates all that network signal, which you will mostly see a crystal around it. I don't know if the phone is right in front of you right here, but if you check the phone, I think you will see one IC around your network socket with a small crystal right there. And even if you don't see any crystal, as long as you have followed that network socket, then see where the line I don't know if you know how to follow all those lines. The line will be clear on the motherboard. If you follow the line, then see any IC that the line is entering to, that is the signal amplifier IC, which is not the main IC that generates that network signal. So it might be because of that signal amplifier IC, which connects the network antenna, which connects to the network antenna directly, and the line is always visible. If you follow the line, you will see that it's getting to one IC, which is the signal amplifier. Meanwhile, the network IC will have its signal oscillator, will have its frequency oscillator, it will have a crystal oscillator around it, and you can see a couple of whitish or a couple of whitish resistors around it, and you will see package resistors. The package resistors are used to filter the signal, filter the network connection in the network section. That is why you will always see filter resistors around network section and package resistors. I have a video about resistors, so I think you can identify a package resistors. And if you are confused about anything, maybe you don't know how to identify some sections, always check my playlist. You will see a couple of videos right there. Okay, let me see what I will talk next right here. Okay, Enoch, you are talking about your hot 10. Okay, you said that the hot 10 only blinks, then goes off. Let me see. Okay, so when you're talking about the blinking, is it the screen that blinks when you connect it on charge, or only the light, only the signal light at the top of the screen? Can you please answer so that I will know how we can check on that? Yeah, if you try explaining more, I will know how we can check on that. Because the reason why, when you first talked about the phone blinking but not switching on, I already know that it might be the Techno or Infinix, because I have solved a couple of problems in that same phone. I have solved that problem in many phones, which is just Infinix and Techno. And in most cases, that was house shorting. In most cases, that was house shorting. And the reason why house shorting might be really tempting is because sometimes we have problems like a phone try to switch on, then just going off completely. I don't mean restarting, try to switch on, then going off completely. That usually happens because when you are trying to switch on that phone, when you press on the power button of that phone, then the phone start booting. That is when the power IC start distributing required voltages to different parts of that mobile phone. So for example, if the power IC start to distribute that required voltages to different parts, meanwhile the network part is shorting, it will be very easy that as soon as the voltage reaches there, the network section will shut the phone and the phone will go off. That is what I want you to understand in those phones that always goes off when they try to switch on. Then you try checking but don't get a problem. In most cases, that's the main problem. The main problem in most cases is how shorting, because as soon as you turn on the phone, when you connect your battery in a phone, the phone is not distributing any voltage yet. That voltage that you connected, that voltage from the battery that you just connected in that phone, ends in the power IC. Ends in the power IC. As soon as you have pressed your power button, then the power IC will switch on, then start distributing the voltages to the CPU, charging IC, network IC. And if it gets to any IC, meanwhile the IC is shorting, the phone might go off. So that is what you need to know. When you have this type of problem, you need to check it carefully, then see what's going on over there. Okay, Enoch, I'm still with you right here. Okay, about the phone that has only a light on top of the screen when you try to connect it, I will want you to follow these steps and check the phone. I will want you to first, you need to chat with the person who gave you the phone, the customer, because sometimes it might be water damage and sometimes it might be a system corruption, it might be a software corruption. Because sometimes when a customer brings you a phone, then you need to ask the person how was the phone behaving before it got bad. Because that phone that you are talking about right here, it's very easy that it might be a software corruption. And if you ask the customer and the customer say when the phone went off, it was really slow. Before the phone went off, it was really slow or freezing. And when you get this kind of information from the customer, from there you will know that before that phone got bad, the system was getting corrupt. And anytime that a system of a phone wants to corrupt, it will have that freezing. The phone will start freezing and misbehaving, because some of the time the system needs to be updated. And when you fail to update the system, it will crash totally and the phone won't switch on again. So if you check, the customer gives you all this information, then maybe you still want to do some troubleshooting. I will advise you to first connect that phone on your PC, then try to read it with any flash tool or any unlock tool. Just try to read the information of the phone. If the phone reads the information successfully, like read all information on your tool successfully, then try flashing the phone. You understand what I'm saying, right? Then try flashing the phone. And make sure you check the half shorting and the full shorting on the phone as well. Yeah, it can only be half shorting. Since you said it seems like connections, the voltages are passing on the phone well. That is why you can get that light at the top of the screen when you connect charger, which means that there is no full shorting. It can be half shorting. You can check half shorting as I told you earlier, as I explained in this video earlier. You understand? Then try to flash that phone. Try to read the system of the phone to see if you will be able to read the system. Because it might be the EMMC. The EMMC might be corrupt or totally damaged right here. Okay. Edwin, you are talking about digital mic phone. Is it possible to replace any digital mic phone with any phone? Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible. I've done that so many times. I've done that so many times. It's possible. The difference between these mics that you are talking about is that some mics does not have a circuit, inbuilt circuit, like this 2-pin mic. It does not have any inbuilt circuit. That is why it has only 2 pins. And the other mics that you see 3 pins, 4 pins, 5 pins has inbuilt circuit inside, which are built with high value resistors, which are kilo ohms, not only ohms. That is why when you try replacing a 5-pin mic with a 2-pin mic, you will need resistors. You will need some few jumpers before you can get that mic to work. Because the main mic that was working, even though it was small, it was inbuilt with resistors. It was integrated with components. So that is why when you are replacing it with a 2-pin mic, you will need to do some jumpers with resistor before you can get the mic to work as intended. Okay, Enoch, you said it was water damage. Okay, that's cool. It's always cool to know, because when you know this, you will know how you can check. Okay, because it was water damage, you will make sure you service the phone very well. You understand what I'm saying, right? So make sure that you clean the phone, then do medium heat. You heat the phone well, and if you heat it, make sure that if you hit the phone, make sure that it's not shorting on any side. Try to use the full shorting method or the half shorting method by placing your red probe multimeter to the negative side of your motherboard. Then use the other probe that you are holding to test capacitors around the phone. Test all capacitors around the phone. From there, you will know which one is working and which one is not working. And if you test and you don't see any how shorting, that might be because the place that is shorting on the phone, that water damage might have caused an open circuit or a half shorting under any IC right there, and that will be hard to identify. You know what I'm saying? That will be hard to identify. So the easiest way to solve water damage, which is behaving like that, no shorting, no full shorting, no half shorting, you can easily solve that by using schematic diagrams. I have a video on how you can read schematic diagrams, and I have yeah, is it Bonio schematic? Yeah, I have 3 license of Bonio schematic. I've been looking on people to dash those two, but I'm not seeing anyone who is that active on my channel. I always upload videos. I don't really get likes as I thought and comments. So I'm just looking people that will always be active to dash that too. I have 3 monthly license of Bonio schematic. You know what I'm saying? So that I can give home to people who are really there, who are really active on my channel. Okay, let me see what's going on right here. Okay, Abo Abayomi. That name, man. That name is hard. Abayomi. The Samsung that you're talking about, which is backlight problem. I have a video to troubleshoot backlight problem. To troubleshoot it step by step. It's not an easy task because you will need schematic diagram in case if you don't know where that backlight IC is, and if you don't know the input voltage of that backlight IC. Like you said, it's water damage. It's possible that the backlight IC might be damaged, or maybe the input voltage that is powering up the backlight IC might not be working, or maybe the signal which powers up, which gives the backlight IC control, which the signal is from the CPU, might be broken. You can still, let me just explain more about this backlight problem in a way that you will understand. The Samsung that you're talking about, it's coming on with no backlight, right? Which means that you have image on the PCB, which means that you have image on the screen. Sorry. So if you have image on the screen but with no backlight, it might be because the backlight is totally damaged, or it might be because the backlight is lacking 2 things. The backlight is lacking the input voltage or the signal voltage. You need to understand that backlights are like transistors. It needs a signal so that the transistor will be switched on, then it needs a powered voltage. So the signal that I'm talking about right here is from the CPU. The signal that I'm talking about right here is from the CPU. And if this signal is broken, if the line is broken, then you wouldn't be able, that backlight IC wouldn't be able to function because it has no command to function. So the CPU always give the backlight IC when you switch on the phone. The CPU will know that the phone has been switched on. Then it will send a signal to the backlight IC switch line to turn on, to transfer and boost that voltage that will power up your display. So if that signal is not available, then that phone won't function. The backlight IC won't function. So I suggest you check my video on how to troubleshoot backlight section, then see if you will be able to find the backlight section of that phone, then troubleshoot it step by step. You understand? That's the best way that I can help you out right now. Except that you can contact me on WhatsApp, send me some pictures. Yeah, if you have, even if anyone has a problem right here that I'm explaining in a way that he cannot understand, he can send me a message right there on WhatsApp so that we will talk on that. But before you send me a message, I've been talking about my channel membership right here. You can join it. I said the channel membership to be very cheap, but no one wants to join it. So when I'm chatting with someone who is into my channel membership, I'm seeing that this person really likes what I'm doing. He really appreciates what I'm doing. So when I'm helping the person out, chatting with the person, answering some questions, I'm really feeling happy. So if you can click the join button, I will be very happy. Okay. Okay, Fedzi, you're talking about iPhone 11 goes off and on after screen and back cover change. Do you mean the screen goes off or the phone goes off totally? I would like you to answer. Is the screen that is going off the phone or the phone is going off? I would like you to tell me right here. You're not sure? Welcome right here. You're welcome. You're cool, man. You're cool. Any question? Okay, okay. You need the channel membership link. I'm going to send you the channel membership. Just go on right here. Let me go copy the link, then send it. So anyone right here, I will be very happy if you just join that channel membership. It will tells me, it will prove to me that you guys are really happy and you guys really appreciate the things that I'm creating on right here. And with that, we can chat all the times. We can really chat all the time on WhatsApp. Let me just go up right here, then check the channel membership link so that any of you can join it from here. Okay, my network is kind of really slow. I'm still trying to copy that channel membership link. So you can check, you guys can check any question, or maybe you have any video in mind that you want me to make. If you have any topic that you want me to make a video on, just let me know right here. I'm going to do that. Okay, talking about that Telegram group, there are many platforms that I don't really like playing on. Like that Telegram, I don't enjoy the Telegram. Maybe because I don't have a lot of time to get into this app, get into that app. I don't know why. I downloaded that Telegram and I even created a group sometime, but it was just a type, so I had to exit the Telegram. But I'm try if that's what you want. If you guys think that that's better, then I'm going to do that. You understand? So if you guys want a Telegram group, if you guys think that a Telegram group will be perfect, then I'm going to work on that. Okay, let me see. Okay, Enoch, oh, Enoch, oh, okay, okay, I see. You are talking about a keypad phone, which which won't stop vibrating when you connect a keypad phone that vibrates when you connect the battery or something. Okay, what I want you to understand about this keypad phone is that all the connections of a keypad phone is from the CPU. That is why in most keypad phones you have only the CPU. The only main component that you have in a keypad phone is the CPU. So some malfunctioning might be directly from the CPU, and that's only if you can only conclude that if you only see the CPU as the main component of that phone. But if there are any other components around the phone, then you might try to check, because the problem that you are talking about right here, that the phone vibrates anytime that you connect a battery, it seems like maybe a transistor is broken, which is crossing voltage to different side, or one IC might be broken and sending voltage, or might has a short circuit that is sending voltages to different parts that was not supposed to send. You understand? So that is something that you need to follow up. I'm not really working on keypad phones, but that's my own idea. You know what I'm saying? That's my own idea. You need to check if there is any components around the battery connector or around the vibrator. Okay. Um. Okay. You asked me about the short identification. After identifying the short, what will you do? That's a very good question. That's a very good question because that's a very good question. So after you have identified that short, what you will need to do to easily solve a house shorting on a mobile phone is that you will need a short killer for you to easily for you to easily solve that problem. You will need a short killer. But what if you don't have that short killer? You need to understand that how shorting, because you test in the battery terminals and you notice a half shorting which does not beep but which has a low value, does not mean that the component that is shorting does not beep. You understand what I'm saying? You need to have that in mind. As soon as you have checked and you notice that a phone is shorting, you need to have in mind that the main component that is shorting is fully shorting. It's fully shorting. There is nothing like a capacitor half shorting. A capacitor can be leaking sometimes and you might not know if the capacitor is fully shorting or how. The capacitor might be, you will test some of the time it's beep, some of the time it does not beep. That is what it's called, a leaking capacitor. A capacitor that might beep some of the time and might not beep some of the time is leaking, and that capacitor might be bad, and that is what might be causing house shorting some of the time. But you need to understand that house shorting on a mobile PCB, even though it does not beep on the battery connector, the main component that is shorting is beeping, and you can still check it using the full shorting method by placing the other probe of the multimeter into ground, then using the other probe by testing the components one by one. From there you will know how it goes. Okay, Edwin, thanks for that. Yeah, they really need to like the video. We are not many right here, but it's cool. It's cool. Okay, let me about the channel membership link. I'm trying to get it right here. The computer in which I'm working on right here, it's kind of not going anywhere. Maybe it's because I'm doing a live stream on it or how, but let me try and get that. It's something I really want you guys to join. I would really appreciate, because there is one thing that you guys need to understand about me and these videos that I'm making. I'm not making anything. I'm not gaining anything about these videos. You understand? You might think that I'm getting some amount of money, but that's wrong. This video does not pay that much, only a little. It cannot even pay the rent of my house. That is why I try mixing different videos on this channel. Maybe you guys wonder why I mix videos. I'm just trying to earn something more. You understand? So you guys joining my channel membership and even sending some support right here using the dollar icon button, I will be grateful about that. You understand? Okay, amok. Is it amok or what? Okay, you're talking about P15 temperature too high. Okay, that's cool. That's a concerning problem. That problem is kind of disturbing a lot of people. I had a video. I don't know if, yeah, I had a video in which I was talking about those jumper points on a mobile phone. I talked much about BSI and battery ID of a phone. So the battery temperature too high on the phone that you are talking about might be because the temperature resistor, the temperature thermistor on the battery might not be functioning or might be giving the phone a different value, a different reading, or the phone the phone temperature line, which is the BSI line or the BTEM, might be giving a wrong signal to the CPU or the line might be broken. So this is what I want you to check. You need to test a different battery on that phone. The P15 that you're talking about, there is no doubt that it has three important lines on the charging connector. So the middle one, which is the one that is small, I want you to follow that line. Make sure the line is not broken, and make sure if you see any resistor, because this line is mostly dealing with thermistor resistors. Any resistor that you see when following this line, make sure you change the resistor. It might be the problem of that phone. Thermistors are kind of sensitive because in such a way that if you are trying to work, if you are trying to switch on your phone or work on your phone, then the CPU is requiring the thermistor to send a signal that this phone is working in a normal temperature, working in a high temperature, or a low temperature. If that thermistor is malfunctioning even a little, the CPU will read its own thing, and that's why you will get that thing that I'm talking about right here. So if the thermistor is not working, or if there is no signal in the BTEM, then you will get that error. So you always need to check the line well. Okay, Edwin, I've heard you. I'm going to work on that video that you're talking about when I get back to my town. I'm not in my main town right now. I think you guys have noticed that I'm not doing like practicals videos again, because I have some stuff that I'm focusing on right now. I really need to focus on this channel, right? And see how it goes. Okay, anyone that asks the question, I hope you do understand everything that I'm telling you right here. If you don't understand anything, feel free to ask me. If you don't understand anything, feel free to ask. You understand? Okay. For those of you who asked the question, I want you to say something. If you do understand from my explanations or you don't, tell me the things that you understand and those that you don't understand. Amok, you were talking about the temperature problem. I hope you understand from my explanations, because I think that's kind of disturbing a lot of people, that temperature problem on a mobile phone. That's kind of disturbing. So I really want to know if you do understand. Because the battery of that P15 that you are talking about has three pins, three important pins, which is the positive, which has the positive, the negative, then the ID, which is the B10. So phones that you have only these three terminals, that middle terminal is always very important because it controls the battery ID, then the battery temperature signal. It lets the phone know that this battery is mine. At the same time, lets the CPU know that this battery is in the best working state, is in the best working temperature. You understand? I'm still trying to get the channel membership link right here. Okay, Edwin, cool. It's cool. I'm glad you are that active. I'm really happy. I'm happy. You are cool, man. Any question? So you guys know how to use a multimeter. You guys know how to test half shorting. You guys know how to identify all ICs on the mobile phone, right? These are the things that I want you guys to know. I want you guys to know all the simple things that you need when you are troubleshooting a mobile phone. That is why I keep asking if you have a question or not. You understand? Okay, I'm going to send the channel membership link to you right now. And please, I want everybody to join, please. You as well. Okay, everyone, that's the channel membership. That's the channel membership link. That's the channel membership link. You just have to click that link, then join the last level. Join the highest level on the channel membership. From there, we can stay connected anyhow that you want. I can assist you when you are trying to solve a problem at your shop. You can send me pictures, and we chat. I explain how you can check step by step. So joining that channel membership will be like a support to me as well, as it will help you too. So you can just click the channel membership. Just click the link right there. It will direct you on how you can join. And please join the last level, the highest level that you see there. I set everything to be very low because I want us to stay connected right here. Okay, cool. I'm glad. I'm glad you guys are okay. Okay, I'm just going to send my WhatsApp number to those who say they need it. Maybe you have something that you want us to talk on. I will send my WhatsApp number right here. If there's anything you want us to discuss more, then we can discuss. And don't forget about the channel membership. You can just click on right here and join. That will be cool. You understand? Okay, cool. That's my WhatsApp number. You can contact me on WhatsApp through that number right there. I think I'm about to end the chat right here. I'm about to end the chat right here. And I thank you all for staying on with me right here. I thank you all for staying on with me. Like I said, this is my first time of doing a live chat, and I see it's really cool because we chat direct. I see the questions in which you guys want to ask directly. So it's cool. So this is something that we will keep on doing. We will do this more frequently. You understand? So make sure you share the chat, share the live chatting with your friends who are doing the work as well. Yeah, Enoch, I have a video about half shorting and full shorting, which I made that video a long time ago. You can check my playlist, you will see that video. But I want to make an advanced version of that video soon. You understand? I will make an advanced video of that video. Yeah, because half shorting and full shorting is very important to know. It's very important to know. And I forgot to told you one thing. There's one thing that I forgot to tell you. You can easily fix, or you can easily identify half shorting and full shorting on a mobile phone using uh your handmade short killer. Like right now, you will be surprised to hear that I haven't used a short killer before. Like the ones that we buy in the market, I haven't used that. So I made my own short killer. And if that's something that maybe you want a video about it, then I will make a video on how you can make your own short killer. You understand? So I'm always, right here, we don't have all the stores. Even in stores, we don't have all that shit. So I always try my best. I always try my best to work the things out the way that I can. That is why I try to learn more and try to solve things without having those professional tools. So I hope you understand. Okay. Any question before I go? I'm about to stop the live chat right now. Okay, seems like there is no question. Okay, then we see on my next video or on my next live chat then. If you guys are okay for me to stop the live chat right now, just tell me. I don't want to stop it. Meanwhile, someone has an important question to ask. You understand? So if you have a question in which you want me to answer, just ask the question so that I will answer before leaving. Okay, well, seems like there's no question. Then bye. Bye for now. That's my WhatsApp number. You can message me anytime. And don't forget about the channel membership. I will be glad. As soon as you have joined the channel membership, you can let me know through WhatsApp or through my email. You understand? So stay tuned to my channel and stay blessed. Take care.